knowing when to push through, and knowing when to slow down.
She just goes straight down.
Are two key elements to success in any difficult pursuit.
That, my dear friends, is a tiny little puglet.
But one should try to avoid stagnation. Stagnation is ultimately where bodies,
I should have left hours ago because I'm in a lot of pain.
minds,
If I was a tin miner, I'd be real happy right now.
and dreams ultimately perish.
Whipped in the face by a twig.
Often facing your challenges head on is the path to success.
You may be strong, but you're not as strong as that tree.
Stumpy pigs. They sent me a custom pig, so of course I'm gonna go detecting.
Would you just look at that work of art? On you, Stumpy.
Problem is I'm currently dealing with quite a severe injury, so we'll see how this goes. Maybe I'll get stuck on a mountain, hopefully stuck with gold.
Careful what you wish for there, buddy.
That's my old pick. I've done a little bit of work with it because it's exactly the same pick.
Yeah, in Australia, your dogs have bug jackets. Because of the outrageous amount of water and flooding around at the moment, the mosquitoes are thick.
There's a really big mine down here, and I want to work below the workings to see if any gold's travelled down the hills that the old timers didn't pick up. Fern's standing on the late 1800s mining road that they put in to get their ore out. This here is one of their small mines. She just goes straight down. Timber supports put in there well over 150 years ago, still in place. I'm working this quartz flow. The mosquitoes are ferocious. This is my first target here. Hopefully, it's not a bullet.
The GPX 6000 is an incredibly sensitive machine, and in wet ground, it can be quite temperamental.
This might be ground noise by the sounds of it, because it changed the pitch on a ground balance. These hills are rich in iron, and when that iron gets wet, you get a lot of false targets.
As with everything, there's a balance. The more sensitive the machine, the more minerals it's going to pick up on.
That's where I started, and I followed it all the way up here, and I found several hot rocks, and it's led me straight back to the mine dump. So we know we're in the right line, and I finally got a signal just in this mullock pile. It actually sounds all right. Well, we'll find out when we move some of these rocks. Put these where I can actually get to them, just in case one of these rocks is the thing that is giving me the signal. Like, look at that. Oh, traditionally, that's the kind of quartz that I like seeing, just in case. No. Okay, now the sound's changed and I'm not so sure. That sounds like steel. That took entirely too long to find. Yeah, I wouldn't get too excited, guys. We got our first shoot gun pellet for the day. Oh yeah, if you want to be a gold miner, you first got to embrace the fact that you're going to be a lead miner for a long time. And now we've got this sound. That sounds nice. Lead or gold, I'd say. Stumpy. It's going to take a little bit out. There's lots of quartz in it. Oh, there's a potential there. Oh, I don't want to take too much out. Oh, it's getting really wet. It could be hot ground. I've narrowed it down to being in this clump. It's a very wet ball of clay. There's every chance this is just hot ground. So I'm getting a signal in that. If I get a signal in this one, yeah, it's hot ground. And if it was a target, there would only be one signal in there, not three. I've decided to follow this 1800s mining road. I've never been down here before. And right down there, just past Fern, is a gold mine ore dump. It's real steep. It might kill me getting down there, but we're gonna try. There are so many mines. That's a mine, that's a mine, all of these are mines. This mullock pile I'm standing on literally goes down 30 meters. I got a signal up here. It's big, so it's probably gonna be scrap. All right, I'll move this rock. Oh. Yeah, all right. Oh, I found our luck's changed, buddy. I believe the mythology is you have these up this way to collect luck, and when you need it, you turn it up and you empty it. That's why you don't store them upside down, otherwise they don't collect any to give you. But I don't think that's a horseshoe. That looks like a boot cobble, like a thing that goes on the bottom of your shoe. Ah, just my size. Big open pit mine. And the spoils are sitting in this depression. There's a square edge here. Often square edges like this, where there's a little flat spot, especially on a steep hill, are what are called ore pads. And the fact that we've got a whole heap of quartz all through this area is really indicative of them throwing some low-grade rock out. So I am hoping that this is a piece of gold. It's really small. Whatever it is, it could be ground noise, but it's really small.
Some 8 minutes of digging and scraping later, I found it.
Once again, that took entirely too long to find. An old piece of rust. I've made it down into the gully and there's hard rock mine after hard rock mine. Unbelievable. Check this scary bugger out. Straight down. Hear the water?
Of course you can't, Chris. You left the GPX on.
Check out the old wall down in the gully. I think that's to deviate water and stuff around the mine that's next to it. All hand stacked. That's super cool. That's what they were protecting, that hole.
By this point, it had been several hours and I'd given up on filming for a while. I'd been quickly checking all the mine dumps that I came across, when suddenly...
God! You freaking rigger! The trail is on the other side of this ridge, the 1800s mining road, and I'd been following that down the gully where that stone wall was. And on the side of the track, I saw what's called a costine. It's a trench, a shallow trench that they use to track the gold up the hill. And I thought, you know what? If they're putting in costines, they were onto something. So I followed it and I ended up at this little mine. There's 1, 2, and then there's a third one down there. Got a nice little signal. And it's very loud. I thought, oh, there's no way that's going to be gold. That's going to be a bit of junk. But I've seen it in my scoop. That, my dear friends, is a tiny little puglet. Just like the mini boxer I own, I got a little nugget. I love exploring when it works out like this. I've never seen these mines, and there's like probably 100 of them. We got work to do. I'm getting eaten too. These mosquitoes are taking all the blood. Welcome to your new home, friend.
In a lot of pain, but with some fresh new enthusiasm, I went to work.
Some 14 years ago, I severely injured my back, and it's plagued me ever since. Now, I've done a whole heap of stuff. Like, that's why I exercise every day to keep it strong and healthy. But man, it's killing me today. So, taking it real slow, but I think I got a piece of quartz of gold in it. The first piece of gold was at a mine just down there. I walked up the hill and I found 2 more hard rock mines, and this spoil pile here looked pretty enticing because the amount of quartz that we've got sitting in it. I got a nice little signal. Took me a little while to find it. Listen to this. Not going to be a big specimen, but that's definitely quartz in our signal, so we know there's gold in it. Just wiping all the mud off it, trying to see if there's any gold. I can see the gold right down in this little divot here. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it out on camera. It's this tiny, tiny little streak of that yellow stuff coming out of the rock.
Several more hours and a lot of rust later.
Alright, somewhere here. It's pretty loud, so it's probably going to be steel, but you never know.
I was starting to run out of time and patience.
No, it's a bit of lead. That's what you get prospecting. Remember, you're a lead miner first. Fernster, it's almost 6 p.m. and I can't stop digging. Just continuous shotgun pellets, but nonetheless.
The next find had me scratching my head a little.
It actually sounds alright, but it's little, so we'll see. At the start, I had high hopes because it sounded nice, but the hole just got deeper and deeper. Now it's up here somewhere, and it's very loud, so I'm betting it's a nail. 6 scoops later, that's a loud target. I see it. God, I hate these things. I don't know what they are, but they're everywhere on the gold fields. I take it back. This is actually interesting. It's got like a rock on the top. That looks like polished like porcelain or something on an eyelet. So maybe some kind of decorative button. I don't know what that is. If you have any idea what that is, drop a comment below. That's kind of cool. I'll keep that.
After what had been a massive, successful, yet painful day, it was time to head home.
I gotta get out of here. Not only are the mosquitoes getting even worse, gonna stay still for a second so you can kind of see the swarms of mosquitoes. There's so many. They are thick. But it's actually getting quite late. It's going to be dark in about an hour and it's going to take that long to walk out of here. I'm definitely coming back with Mick and Gadsy because I found 2 pieces of gold on the first prospecting trip out here. Not a dang word, Gadsy. Not a dang word.
Oh my God.
Not a dang word. Once again, the shop was sold out of Dare, so I have to go with Ice Break.
I might walk, actually. I can't.
No, fine, get out.
Okay, I will. Me and Fern, we're going to walk down.
Fern and I's mission yesterday was mostly to try and make my back feel a little bit better by loosening it up, and it seems to have worked. Still sore, but not deathly. And for that reason today, I'm out with the mini high banker from Gold Fox.
And on that mini high banker is the newly installed Jarvie riffle.
Jarvie riffles are designed to create more turbulence within a high banker or sluice system, therefore hopefully retaining more gold. And today we're out on the clay pan to see how well it works.
The point of this trip was not to get heaps of gold, but to test a new piece of equipment, the Jarvie riffle. Because honestly, I was still very sore.
This is what we're getting off the clay. Now, it's not a huge amount of gold, but it's enough to throw through this machine for a test. Yeah, very fine. So if we're catching this stuff, we'll be good. This is excellent material to test this Jarvie riffle on because the gold's very fine and there's lots and lots of coarse tin. What we're hunting are these little piles of gravel. This is only maybe an inch or so deep and it's sitting on top of a clay base. That clay base is working as a false bottom, so when the floodwaters come over here, it gets rid of all of the gravel and the gold just sticks to that clay. Stretch. That's the first bucket run, and my word, the black sand is thick in there. The Jarvie riffle looks like it is working. From what I can see in the slow motion footage, those big rocks are just hanging up for a second, and that's what you want. It's creating turbulent flow that allows time for the gold to drop out. Let's get another bucket.
I am Arista prospecting.
You are Arista prospecting. 5 specs isn't good enough.
No, no.
He wants 50.
50
He
to
wants
100
to be a real prospector.
in a small pan.
Doesn't want to hang out with us soy boys.
No,
over here with our 10.
With your tight shorts.
I don't know how many shovels there are to a bucket, but it felt like all of them.
So I'm only doing half buckets.
The one thing I'm definitely adding to this high banker is a dirt chute to force the dirt right to the back of the high banker so the Jarvie riffle can take full effect.
This is a really big clap of thunder.
Yeah.
The gods are displeased.
You know why?
Why?
Because you've got the ice break coffee.
Oh, come off it. I couldn't help it.
That's unpleased milk gods.
Gadsy may have been onto something, because milk gods be damned, I may not have been finding as much gold as I thought I was.
Who says they don't work out? That's a full sideways twist. That's a reach. Oh, that's a twizzle.
If I was a tin miner, I'd be real happy right now.
But alas, I'm not. I'm a gold miner. That's a lie. I'm actually a boxer owner.
It was back to filling buckets
The power.
and feeding the mini monster. But after 3 admittedly half buckets of dirt, I wanted to see how much, if any, gold was caught under the Jarvie riffle.
Third bucket done. Plenty of black sand in the riffles. We don't need to clean this out at the moment, but I do want to see what's up underneath that Jarvie riffle. Or I've just dug in all the wrong spots and there'll be no gold at all. Almost the second one. There's a little bit of gold. For 3 buckets, I would have expected to see a whole bunch more gold than that. I am very confident we're not losing gold. I will check my tailings. But me thinks I was digging in the wrong spot because I got just as much gold from a single test pan. But before I do any of that, I got to start walking around again because I sat down for too long. Now my back's seized.
While I loosened my back up, Mick had discovered just how well the creek concentrates heavies.
You're like, oh yeah, sand, normal sand, black sand. Lots and lots of black sand.
Soon enough, I was back at it, and after test panning a spot that actually had some gold in it, I ran a couple of buckets.
This is the tailings from 4 scoops out of the end of the sluice. So if there's gold in this, we know something's going wrong in the setup.
And if there's no gold in the tailings, that just means I was running low-grade pay dirt.
Okay, there's no gold. So we're not losing it out the end of the sluice. Because we know we're not losing gold out at the end of the sluice, I've been test panning to see if I can find a spot with better specs, and I found one. There is a dead spot just here. Took a test pan and 2 shovels out of that and managed to find this gold. The particle size is nice and there's quite a few of them. So let's try running dirt through the sluice that actually has gold in it.
Good idea, you bright spark.
Bless?
You can see in this footage why I need a dirt chute, and that's simply to get the water to go to the back as opposed to spreading evenly across those riffles.
It's pay dirt time. Woo!
If I get the dirt to go to the back and run over the top of the Jarvie riffles, it gives the gold more time to settle out in the turbulent flow.
Mick goes to a spot that we know has decent gold, and he came out with the most black sand I've seen in a while. All tin. Jesus, man. That's how many shovels? Like 2? Oh, you're running the mini shovel.
Mini shovels,
It's like 3. Yeah. Oh, yeah? A couple little pieces of flour gold. If you're getting that much tin on the surface with a couple of pieces of flour gold, down deep it might be okay. Run out of juice. But luckily, I brought another drill battery. I got my pump turned up to 100% currently, and it's it looks like an old man's dribble. Now with a little bit of luck, when I turn this on, we'll have power. Yeah. That is 2 buckets run from this spot. Fairly decent black sand in the riffles once again, but that's no indicator of gold. Our Jarvie riffle has remained pretty much unclogged. That's what we want to see. Alright, hopefully there's a better result than we got the first time. Test pan showed more gold. Ah, yeah. Yeah. Nicer bits and more of them for just 2 buckets. Hell yeah. It's not a massive amount of gold, but it's gold. It's better than what we got the first time round. Now I'll pull the mats and we'll see if we get any more.
Basically, if there's more gold in the main mat, the Jarvie riffle isn't doing its job. I'd hope for a 90% recovery right at the top of the sluice.
It's all getting caught right at the top because we're not really adding any specs to our cleanup pans when we clean out the main matting. Which is exactly what you want, because it means that the Jarvie riffle is set up correctly. All our gold is getting caught right at the very top of the sluice. But apparently there's a storm coming, Gadsy. Yeah.
And boy, did it turn out to be one hell of a storm. Over 160 millimeters of rain in less than 24 hours.
It's a drop bear cub.
As every Aussie knows, a good thunderstorm always brings out the drop bears.
He does not care that we are here at all. I like your nose. Drop bears are pretty famous for having chlamydia. Do you have chlamydia, or are you clean?
The chlamydia thing isn't even a joke, that's legitimate. And then the storm hit.
That is Reedy Creek, Reedy River. Oh my god! You can't even see the boulders there. This is where I was working the other day. If I was there now, I'd be 6 foot underwater. Right where that tree is a mound of dirt. On that side, there is a 10-foot drop off that separates this creek, Reedy Creek, from the secondary channel. So that's at least 10 foot deep.
And that's when I spotted this legend doing his thing.
You may be strong, but you're not as strong as that tree. Hold on, little buddy. I mean, literally everyone says it's going to replenish the gold, which it will, but we need the water to go away. It's a bit moist. I wasn't going to film, but I came back to the mines where I found my first 2 specimens at the start of the week, and I found 2 more, so I figured I'll break the camera out. Maybe I could dig a couple for you. Got a nice quartz specimen with no visible gold in it in that jar, and I've got another one right here. Currently all covered in dirt, so I shall spit on it. Woo! Say what you want about spit, it works. That is reefy as heck. Oh man. Wow, it's turning out to be a good day. Le bloop. This totally could be very hot ground again, but look how wet that is. I'm going to bet that's hot ground.
And as luck would have it,
That is a massive thunderstorm that's rolling in. I kind of just wish this rain would F off. I know it looks really quite nice this side, but I just checked the radar and there's some like supercell storms coming, one of which is right there.
Once again, that storm smashed us, but I'd waited a couple of days and the creek had gone down enough to be able to pan again.
It certainly might not be the best speck count in the world, but it's a great place to start. One little pan and a whole bunch of flakies. And for Reedy Creek, that is a decent speck count. It's day 8 of me recovering from this back injury, and I finally feel fit enough to do more than 3 or 4 pans. So today I've come out to Reedy Creek to do some crevicing. For a little bit of perspective, I'm 6 foot tall and those flood debris over there are above my head, but I'm standing at the current water line. This entire area was completely underwater and the spot we're working is just there. So whilst floods do definitely replenish the creek system's deposits, I like to come out after floods and look for ground that's been freshly revealed, that's been covered up and you didn't know was there. The key indicator on Reedy Creek is black sand. The more black sand and the chunkier it is, the better your chances of finding good gold. See, we've got a little bit of chunky black sand then, and only really fine gold. When gold deposits, it doesn't deposit in a clump, it deposits in layers. You might have several very rich layers stacked up on top of each other, but more often than not in my area, you'll get a great layer, a poor layer, a great layer, a poor layer, a poor layer, a great, like it just stacks up. And so if you punch through those good layers, you end up with pans like this. Oh yeah, that's a bit easier. I've got all the dirt I can get out of this crevice with a scoop. The next pan, I'm going to remove this plug and that's going to flood the hole. And then I can use my bait pump to suck out the rest. The scoop allowed me to get a little bit deeper into that crevice. You can see a lot more chunky black sand. I can even see a couple pieces of small gold sitting up on this riffle. Oh yeah, yep. Oh, heaps of specks. Much more chunky black sand and garnets, and a much better speck count with better size. Now all I've got to do is get this rock out. Oh, I thought I was going to be wedged.
Yabby pumping crevices is the most effective way of extracting the gold out of them. Because no matter how much you scrape with a shovel, you're never going to be able to get the gold out of all the little nooks and crannies off the bedrock.
In theory, the deeper we go in this crevice, the better it should get. Yeah, about the same as the last pan. Some nice specks too. Here's some of the better sized flakes I've got today, and we've also got all that flower gold along with it. Right, the mission is simple. Get to the bottom of that crevice.
It was sporadic patchy gold. Some pans were great, some pans were terrible, and there was very little in between.
The gold's been super sporadic. I've had pans with almost no gold, pans with about the same as what I showed you at the start. Sometimes you got to know when to walk away. This is going to be my last half pan of dirt from that crevice. And I guarantee you, because I said it's going to be my last, there's probably going to be some good gold in here. So irrespective of the gold we get out of this one, it's been so sporadic. I do want to go exploring and see what else is around this area. We can always come back to it. Of course. I said that would happen. And it bloody well happened. This would have to be the best pan I've received from the gold gods all week. And it came right after I said, no, we're done with that spot. But the 2 pans I got before it, I got 3 specks. We got so much ground to look at, you never know what's out there. And as prospectors, it's our job to do as many pans as possible to find the gold. This was a 1/4 pan's worth of dirt, only about 10 meters upstream from our last spot. This entire area has a whole bunch of potential. One really long crevice, which is where I took my pan from, this was all covered up by that topsoil. To work really small crevices like this, you're going to need something like the ripper shank from Tiger. And if they're underwater, you want an attachment for your yabby pump. Nothing more than PVC that's been flattened at one end. Oh, come on. Ah, the rock.
The best gold I've ever found has come from the smallest of crevices. Never underestimate a tiny crack.
Really hoping that it's going to be solid like the first pan. Oh yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Nice size flakes and heaps of it. That is just one pan from that crevice. Not even a full pan. I've scratched and cleaned that crevice as best I can, and this is all the dirt I managed to get out of it. Moment of truth. How much gold was in there? Just a quarter pan's worth of dirt. I'd be happy with like 10 flakes. Yeah, we got our 10. Oh yeah, I say we, me and all my personalities. I don't know if I've got the right gear for this one, but look at this little boil hole here. That is packed full of rock. Maybe. Oh. Oh, look at the black sand. There's potential in this. Heaps of black sand and gold. Yeah, buddy. This entire crevice has been worked as well as I can work it, and it led me to this crevice, which is very deep. I'm not on the bottom yet, and just check that out. Look, we're at least that deep into it, which probably explains why I just found the biggest flake of the day. That's practically a nugget for Reedy Creek. Oh, and of course, it came out with a whole bunch of friends. It's looking about the same. There's heaps of really coarse tin. The question is there going to be gold? Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't have to worry about that at all. They're good. Some nice particle size and a whole bunch of flour gold to go along with it. Oh, I'm feeling it. Mostly in my lower back, but I'm feeling it. Today is the first day I've seen significant gold basically all week, other than with my metal detector. And I think it just brings up one really crucial point, is that you get to choose your sacrifice. If you've got the choice of coming out into the bush and doing something that you love doing, even if it's going to be in a limited capacity and not what it once was, it's much better of a choice than sitting at home and wallowing in the pain. Certainly not a whole lot of gravel, but that's not really been an issue today. Seems to be like the smaller the crevice, the better the gold. Alright, fingers crossed. Come on, baby. Ah! But we got a little chunky bit. Look at that. Oh, Reedy Creek picker. They're rare as hell. I can count on just my fingers how many times I've found a piece of gold on Reedy Creek I can easily pick up. Spec count wise, it wasn't that great, but that little chunk makes up for it.
But with my back telling me it was time to go home, I wanted to see how much gold I'd got for the day.
Well, it's certainly been a fantastic day out on the creek, but it's time for me to go home and rest. Most of it's super fine flood gold, but we did get a couple of those nice flakes in that little picker, so that's definitely made this trip worth it. And let's be honest, you're not going to find any of that sitting on the couch.
It had been a damn hard week of prospecting, but with 4 little specimens and a bunch of flour gold on the last day, I think I came out on top, especially when you consider that several years ago I would have been over the moon to find this amount of gold. Even as little as 2 years ago I would have had a heart attack at finding those specimens.
In the last episode, I said that I was going to give away this gold specimen completely for free to one of my lucky subscribers, and all they had to do was drop a comment below. And the winner of this specimen is Mark Pascia. Congratulations, this specimen will be in the mail and on the way to you soon, and hopefully I didn't butcher your last name. Meanwhile, over on Patreon, every single month we give away pay dirt, as well as last month we gave away a sluice box. If you'd like to be part of future draws, it costs a whole $1, and the link is in the description, because next month
I'm going to be giving away these 2 little specimens that I found detecting on this video. For what I feel are obvious reasons, I can't weigh these 2 specimens. So I'm just going to guess they're about a 0.1 each, which would make sense with the noise I'm making on the detector. With the scales all teared off, it's time to weigh the rest of the gold. I got those 2 little detected specimens plus all the flour gold I got. I'm going to guess half a gram, 0.52. Oh man, I'm getting way better at this. 0.51.
0.51 of a gram of gold is worth 43 Australian dollars at the time of recording. But if we count those 2 little specimens as 0.1 each, that brings the total up to about $60 Australian. Considering I wasn't able to get into the creek, I'm super happy with that. Thank you so much for watching. Please give your dog a big scratch behind the ears. Peace, and I'm out.